how God is turning your worst moments into hope. There are moments when life collapses so quietly that no one else notices. But inside you, everything is screaming. You still wake up, still smile, still move forward, yet something deep within you feels lost. And you wonder how God could be silent while your heart is breaking. You replay the worst moments in your mind at night. The failure, the loss, the prayer that never seemed to reach heaven. And you ask yourself, if those moments damaged your future beyond repair. But what if the moments you call your worst are the exact places where God planted the beginning of your hope? Not loudly, not suddenly, but patiently, shaping something you cannot see yet. When life breaks, it rarely announces itself. It happens in ordinary moments. A quiet phone call, an email you did not expect, a conversation that changes everything. One day you are planning the future, and the next day you are only trying to survive the present, asking God where He went when you needed Him most. This is where many people think hope disappears. They believe the worst moment means God has stepped away, that silence means abandonment. But Scripture shows something different. Again and again, God does His deepest work in the places that look empty to us. You see it when Moses stood alone in the desert, thinking his life was over, only to discover that God was preparing him there. You see it when David hid in caves, not crowned as king yet, learning trust in the dark. God does not waste hidden seasons. He uses them. Your worst moment may feel like punishment, but often it is preparation. God is not tearing your life apart. He is stripping away what cannot carry you into the next season. The loss hurts because it mattered, but it also reveals where your true strength comes from. In those moments, God listens more closely than you think. He hears the prayers you cannot finish, the questions you are afraid to ask, the tears that fall when no one else is watching. Silence does not mean absence. It often means closeness. What feels like delay is often direction. What feels like loss is often alignment. God is not asking you to understand everything right now. He is asking you to stay, to trust, and to believe that this moment is not the end of your story. There comes a point in every hard season when you stop asking God to fix everything and start asking why it hurts this much. You sit with your thoughts longer than usual. The noise of life fades, and all that remains is the weight of unanswered questions pressing on your chest. This is often where hope feels weakest. Not because God is far, but because expectations are collapsing. You believed life would turn out differently. You trusted that doing the right thing would protect you from this kind of pain. When it didn't, disappointment quietly moved in. Yet, this moment matters more than you realize. Because disappointment strips faith down to what is real. It removes the version of belief that depends on comfort and replaces it with something deeper, something stronger. You begin to notice how God works slowly. Not with instant answers, but with steady presence. Not with dramatic signs, but with quiet strength that keeps you standing when you should have fallen apart. The worst moments have a way of exposing what truly holds you together. They reveal what you leaned on before and what you must lean on now. God does not shame you for struggling. He meets you inside it. There is growth happening that cannot be measured yet. Patience is forming. Compassion is deepening. Trust is being rebuilt on something unshakable. This is not wasted time. This is foundation work. Sometimes, God allows the worst moment because the next version of you cannot exist without it. Not hardened, but refined. Not broken, but honest. Faith grows best when it is tested gently but deeply. Even now, hope is quietly forming. Not loud enough to feel yet, but real enough to carry you forward one more day. There is a moment in every long struggle when you realize the pain has changed you. Not all at once, and not in ways you can easily explain, but in the quiet way you respond to life now. You notice, you listen more, you judge less, you feel things more deeply than before. This is not weakness. This is transformation. God often uses the worst moments to soften parts of us that success never could. When everything is comfortable, we rarely change. But when life strips us down, we finally become teachable. You begin to see people differently. The struggles of others no longer feel distant. You understand pain without explanation. God is shaping compassion inside you. Because one day, someone will need the hope you are learning to carry. There are prayers now that sound different than before. Not rushed, not demanding, more honest, more open. You are no longer asking God to make life easy. You are asking Him to make you steady. That kind of prayer comes from growth, from surrender, from learning that faith is not about controlling outcomes, but trusting God with the process. God is not rushing this season because depth takes time. Strong roots grow slowly. What feels delayed is often being strengthened beneath the surface. You may not recognize yourself yet, but you are becoming someone more grounded, more patient, more aware of God's presence in ordinary moments. The worst moments do not disappear. They are redeemed. They become part of the story God uses to bring life, wisdom, and quiet strength into the future He is preparing for you. As time passes, something subtle begins to shift. The pain does not vanish, but it loosens its grip. You still remember the worst moments, but they no longer define every thought. God has been working quietly, teaching your heart how to carry sorrow without being crushed by it. You begin to notice peace showing up in unexpected places, in the quiet of early mornings, in moments of stillness when nothing is demanded of you. These are not accidents. They are signs that God is restoring you from the inside out. What once felt like endless waiting slowly becomes preparation. God has been building resilience where there was fear, wisdom where there was confusion, strength where there was exhaustion. The worst moments begin to take on a new meaning. You realize they taught you what really matters. They showed you what can be lost and what cannot be taken. Faith, when it is real, survives loss. You no longer chase certainty the way you used to. Instead, you carry trust. Trust that God sees the full picture even when you see only fragments. Trust that nothing you endured was ignored or forgotten. There is a quiet confidence growing now. Not loud, not proud, just steady. You know storms may come again, but you also know you are not the same person you were before. God has been shaping endurance in you, teaching you how to stand without needing everything to make sense, teaching you how to rest even when the future is still unclear. This is how hope grows, quietly, faithfully, right in the middle of the story, not after it ends. One day, almost without realizing it, you notice that your heart feels different. The memories are still there, the worst moments still exist, but they no longer carry the same weight. What once crushed you now quietly reminds you how far God has carried you. You understand now that God was never absent. He was present in ways you could not recognize at the time. While you were focused on survival, He was shaping endurance. While you questioned the future, He was steadying your faith. The strength you carry today did not come from success. It came from learning how to trust God when nothing made sense, from waking up on days when hope felt distant and choosing to keep going anyway. You are not the same person you were before the breaking. You are more patient, more grounded, more aware that God works slowly, carefully, and with purpose. The worst moments did not destroy you. They refined you. Faith no longer feels like something you perform. It feels like something you live, quietly, honestly, without needing everything to be explained. Now, when you look ahead, you may not see the full picture, but you feel peace where fear once lived. You trust that the same God who carried you through the worst moments will guide you into what comes next. If you're still waiting, still hurting, still unsure, remember this: God is not late. He's not distant. He's turning what hurt you into something that will one day help you stand strong. Stay open to that work. Stay honest with God. And if this message spoke to your heart, take a quiet moment to reflect. Share it with someone who needs hope today. And allow God to keep turning your worst moments into something beautiful.